Welcome into Believe in Kentucky. My name is Vinny Hardy. Cole Park will be back on our normal show on Wednesday. We'll recap the Kentucky basketball game and look back to our first SEC win over Auburn on Wednesday. But we got a special episode this Monday evening. We're joined by a big time guest in the business. Dr. David Chao, also known as a Pro Football Doc, is on with us. Doc, honored to have you. Always nice to hear you on all the shows and hear all your analysis. Thank you for taking time to hop on Believe in Kentucky.
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. Second of all, I feel like I need to have some basketballs in the background or hoop stuff. Yes, it is pro football doc because I have 17 years of experience as a head team physician for the Chargers. But you know what? I've worked NBA too. I've covered college basketball, etc. And I just still can't believe that basketball season has started already, right? Oh my gosh. And, we're in the midst, we're just at the halfway point. Actually, after tonight's game will be the halfway point of the NFL season only. And basketball's already here. I know locally here in San Diego State and Brian Dutcher and company have started. I haven't made it to a game yet. I can't think about that yet, but all good, my friend.
It's amazing. You talk about college basketball starting earlier, and now the last several World Series have crept into November. Everything is just expanding. Goodell still wants 18 games. Everything just continues to expand.
Oh, well, I think they're going to get to 18 games, and they're going to get to 18 games with 2 bye weeks. And therefore, it's 20 weeks of TV, and, it's such a long season. They can say health and safety, 2 bye weeks. And, that Super Bowl is going to end up President's Day weekend.
For sure. I'm a Cowboys fan, so I'm going to get set to watch them against the Cardinals.
Oh, big game tonight. Big game. As we
finish, for sure. But you mentioned a little bit of your background, that you were the team doctor for the Chargers for 17 years. How do you maybe walk the tightrope? I don't know if that's the right word. The team wants to kind of probably rush a guy back and, hey, he's healthy. You said 4 to 6 weeks, he's looking good. How do you kind of balance making sure the guy's okay against the coach wanting to, hey, let's get him back out here. We need him.
Well, there was a couple ways around that. First of all, I always told the team and ownership and management that, look, if this guy is the best player on the team, it's my job to get him back as soon as possible. And if he's the worst player on the team, the 53rd guy on the roster, you want him healthy so you can cut him, because you can't cut him without being healthy. So don't tell me you need this guy back. I know you need everyone back as soon as possible. I understand that's my job, but don't tell me get this guy healthy so we can cut him, because maybe psychologically I know him, I feel for him, and now I'm slower, maybe give another week or two. So I was like, let me do my job. My job is to get everyone back as soon as they can. That's number one. Okay. And back in a healthy and safe way. Number two, the biggest fallacy that I ran into, at least I can speak about for the Chargers GMs, many overtime head coaches in the stable ownership, is it wasn't the owners, it wasn't the coaches, it wasn't the GM. So I was involved in a famous story, and it's still on my Twitter timeline. The header picture is Phillip Rivers walking out of the last game of the Indianapolis RCA Dome. You can see by the roof on my Twitter timeline at Pro Football Doc. He had torn his ACL. He wanted to continue to play in the game. I walked him off, said no. He argued with me. Love Phillip, still speak to him now. I literally made the assistant athletic trainer who walked off the field with me and Phillip pretend he's snapping the ball and said, Phillip, get up under center. And he couldn't do it. I said, are you good now? And, literally I had to prove to him that he couldn't do it and couldn't return to. Now, we won that game. And on the plane flight back to San Diego, and that was the last game in the RCA Dome, and It's a fond memory because literally you could hear a pin drop when Billy Volek won that game with Philip on the bench. Everyone in the stadium thought Peyton Manning was, here comes another Peyton Manning comeback. And when the ball's incomplete on fourth down, like it was the eeriest thing in the world. Let me tell you something. You're normally on a football field, if someone's more than 3 feet away from you, you can't hear them talking because there's just ambient noise and whatever. Literally, you could hear a pin drop, and I could hear every player on our sideline, distinct voices of what they were saying, cheering or this, that, great job, this, that, the other. It was a very eerie feeling, but obviously fun being we're on the good side. But on that play ride home, and I don't mean to be so long with you, my friend, Philip killed me about, I'm playing in this AFC championship game. I'm playing in this game. I'm like, dude, you tore your ACL and likely meniscus and more. We got an MRI that night because Philip, the player, was killing me to play. It wasn't Norv Turner, the head coach. It wasn't the GM. It wasn't ownership. It was the player that was killing me to do this. And we took care of it. And we did some things with the brace and, informed consent. And he played in that AFC championship game. We're good friends to this day. And part of it is he's grateful that was his only chance. He literally said, I don't know when I'll get another chance to play for a Super Bowl. I want to be there. So my answer to your question, way too long-winded, I'm sorry, is that it was always players that were driving me to get them back more quickly. It wasn't management that was driving. Now, have things changed now with contracts and different things? Am I old school and whatever? Okay, maybe. I don't know. I can't speak for today's era and what's happening, but all I can do is speak for me. I didn't have a problem with it. My job was to take care of the guys in the locker room. And another way I put it is, if you work for the company, let's say you work at a bank, your job is to do what? Take care of the money. Okay. Yeah. What's the assets of a team? It's the players. My job was to take care of the assets, which is the players. So I never found a conflict.
So this is fascinating. So in the season starts, preseason week 1. And of course, from that point on, nobody's healthy. Everybody's banged up, as you well know. What was a typical day, like a Monday after a game or a typical week? What was that like for you as the head team doctor? How did you oversee all the guys, and how many people were underneath you and assisting you?
Well, you look, you're there, you have a job to do, so stick to the doctoring, practice good medicine, give good advice. And the other thing, speaking to your earlier point, how many times a player would say to me something like, what's the best thing to do for my knee? And I would say, well, the best thing to do for your knee is lose 100 pounds and quit playing football. All right. And I literally said that a lot. And the players will go, no, doc, you know what I mean. With playing football, what's the best thing? Okay, we can do X, Y, and Z with this, that, the other. No, football is not good for your health. It's not good for the health of your knees. It's not good for you. And here's the thing. Football is not a contact sport. Basketball is actually a contact sport. Okay. There's a lot of contact, as you know, in basketball. Football is a collision sport. You get the distinction? Yeah. Basketball is a contact sport. Football is a collision sport.
Yeah, that's a nice distinction for sure. So with that in mind, we are right in the middle of football season. I'm just going to ask you to pivot to Kentucky basketball for a minute. The season starts today. Kentucky plays tomorrow against Nicholls State. And the reason I was hoping to have you on is because the point guard this year, Jalen Lowe, has had a partial dislocation of his shoulder at Big Blue Madness, which is a glorified practice in front of everybody. Everybody gets the first look at the team. And we kind of get in deja vu. Lamont Butler, who you know from out there in San Diego, who transferred to Kentucky, had shoulder issues that plagued him all last year. He was out for a while, came back, dove for a ball against Tennessee, and the player fell on it. And during the tournament, he was basically just dragging his arm. He was braced up. So low isn't that bad, but I kind of got deja vu. I'm like, man, another transfer point guard with a shoulder issue. So I didn't know if you were able to just compare and contrast, and what do you think
Sure.
Kentucky will do?
And full disclosure, I deal in insider knowledge, not insider information. Lamont Butler, San Diego ties. If I treated Lamont Butler or knew something about his MRI or something, I would no longer be able to speak. So, look, insider trading will get you in trouble, right? Insider information will get you in trouble with the SEC, not the basketball conference, the Security and Exchange Commission, right? Not the sports conference. But insider knowledge can make you money in the stock market. I'm dealing in insider knowledge, not insider information, and we're doing analysis versus reporting. But in terms of the things, let me start with partial dislocation. Partial dislocation is still dislocation. Okay. It's still shifting. All it means is it went out and maybe back in, but there's still 90% of the time a structural anomaly. The issue and the problem with shoulders is this. Thankfully, both Lamont Butler and your current point guard, it's the non-shooting side.
Yeah.
Thankfully. Okay. But guess what? You still have to handle the ball and you still have to play defense. And if you're in college basketball, you still have to hustle and make plays happen. You still have to get rebounds. You still have to expose your non-shoulder. And believe it or not, it is way easier in football to play through an unstable shoulder. Look, I know we all see Carson Wentz wincing on the sideline with his unstable shoulder, but it is much easier in football because guess what? Most of the positions, you can strap their shoulder down, limit their range of motion, and you can still play. A linebacker, an offensive lineman, and to some extent, your catch radius, even for a wide receiver, certainly a DB, etc. But basketball, it's very hard to play with the brace on tight enough to prevent redislocation or resubluxation. Very hard to be effective if you have the brace on tight enough to keep your shoulder in the socket. And by the way, here's a big fallacy. The shoulder joint is not a ball and socket joint like your hip joint is. This is why you don't hear about many hip dislocations, Bo Jackson being one of the few, but lots of shoulder dislocations. The shoulder joint in terms of bone is more golf ball on a tee. And a labral tear is the edge of the golf tee is chipped. You can still use the tee, but the ball falls off more easily if it's not currently balanced. And so this is why you strengthen around it, rehab it, but it's the surprise, the static stability of the shoulder isn't there like a ball and socket joint. The dynamic stability of the muscles are there, but when you're surprised or you're caught off guard, that's when the shoulder slips. That's the problem with basketball players. Look, is partial dislocation mean maybe his labral tear isn't as big? I hope so. Can he get through the season? I hope so. Can he wear a brace? I hope so. But it is dicier in basketball than in football. Now, what he's got going for him, though, is it'd be a lot harder if he was under the boards and always having to reach up and getting your arms tangled with other people. That's the most common way of dislocating again. And also, of course, diving and reaching. But, it's basketball. You're playing both ways. That's what makes it hard. It's such a dynamic sport, whereas football, it's sort of like you can, depending on the position you play, you're going one way. As long as you can do your one specific job, you're okay kind of thing. It's very much set, whereas basketball is free flowing and it makes it very different, which is why basketball players, by the way, have a lot harder time returning from ACL than football players because there's no stoppage. You're going both ways. You have to play defense and react, and it's kind of sort of continuous. Whereas football, you can say 4 seconds of bat out of hell and then regroup, right? In football, on offense, you can say, as a wide receiver or sometimes as a running back, I know which hole and which gap I'm hitting. But as a defender, you don't. And in basketball, you got to play both ways. And so this is what a lot of different injuries. And one of the things I always try and do is the same injury for the same player. Like, we talked about the point guard, what his needs are: dominant, offhand, non-shooting hand. But, everybody's ambidextrous these days, but it does help that it's not the shooting side, but you have to be ambidextrous. So, my friend, I've rambled too long. You ask away questions.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. This is exactly, all the insight was definitely hoping for, and you're just knocking down the park. So, just back to you. You're not the team doctor anymore, so I see you on podcasts, hear you on shows. How do you approach watching the NFL? I mean, I'm sure you watch it different than fans, and are you watching for injuries, or are you just compiling data as soon as you see?
Let me tell you, I love one-off games like Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, because I actually watch from home. I've got 13, and 8-year-old, and I just got home studio here. Thank you for the delay. I'll watch most of this game from home, although I might have to take my son to a hitting lesson later on, and I'll stream it. But on Sundays, we watch from a war room, and literally we'll have 8 or 9 games on the different TVs. And we'll have 8 or 9 people in the room, and each person is responsible for a game. And we are watching for injuries, but we're also watching for, hey, the Chargers started with offensive line issues. Oh, Joe Alt is out. There's more offensive line issues. Oh, Bobby Hart, the right tackle, is out. That adds to the right guard issues. So we are watching for specific things, and my staff is great. For example, last night, I was putting my 8-year-old to bed when they texted and called and said, get back to the TV. Here's the video, Jaden Daniels' horrific elbow injury. And we put out a lot of content on that. Look, I didn't get home in time because my wife was taking the 13-year-old to cheerleading 3 hours away, a competition, first one of the season. So I had the other 2 kids, so I had to pick up dinner for them. And I made it what I thought was great, just in time to see the first drive. Well, I didn't see the opening kickoff, but they sent me video, and I'm looking at, Luke McCaffrey, that's worried for a clavicle fracture. Yeah. And it turned out, unfortunately, to be true. So I love watching the one-off games. I'll get to look a little more closely than when there's 8 games on. And sometimes when there's 8 games on, I don't get a flavor of what really happened in the game because, it's not as fun because you are playing hopscotch around chasing the injuries and injury info. But I can't do it by myself. At Sports Injury Central, we have a team of people that do stuff in multiple eyes. There are other doctors involved. I'm the main one, but the bottom line is can't do it without the team of people. So that's kind of how we watch. On a one-off game, I take liberties and be at home to watch, but they're still watching from afar. And it's important to get the right replays and garner all the information. And thanks to my staff, when you gave me the names, I knew about Lamont Butler a little bit. I didn't know the details of the point guard, the other point guard, and is he offhand, dominant arm, what it is, and the details in the scrimmage game. But I go to the staff and go, get me the summary of the details here. And they do sort of a one sheet. Say, this is what you need to know. And if there is video, give it and what have you. And that's kind of what helps. You have to, it's not shoulder dislocation is the same in all circumstances, right? It varies. And even going back to my man, Jaden Daniels, look, he tore his, and the news hasn't even come out yet. I think I haven't seen it. There's no fracture, which was what we said. But he's going to have a Tommy John ulnar collateral ligament tear by definition with the elbow dislocation. But you're shaking your head, but it's going to be okay. It's not his throwing elbow. He won't be able to throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball with his left arm, but he couldn't anyways. He won't need surgery on it. He can be back this season. And that's sort of the customization of injuries and knowing what's happening. Now, if this were his right elbow, oh my gosh, different story. Season ender, career not ending, but threatening. You got to recover from this Tommy John type surgery, this, that, the other. but this is where it really matters what position you play, the type of player, the kind of injury, looking at video. And that's what we do. That's why we have a Believe podcast at Sports Injury Central. And we'll be more and more into basketball as football season starts to wind down.
Yeah.
And there's only so much we can do. So we concentrate more on football now in the basketball. NBA started everything preseason.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's just amazing. So you got, like Chris Berman and all those guys at Bristol, they're up there in a room watching all the games, but you and your staff are doing the same thing and just, of course, watching to see who gets injured. But you guys are all.
Well, I'm watching to try and enjoy the game and see nobody get injured. That's my hope. Okay. But, I was watching, look, we were saying that Seattle had the advantage last night because the Commanders came in with a very injured defense. Now, we had no idea Sam Darnold was going to complete every single pass that he threw. We thought he would have success, but he completed every pass he threw for an average of 13 yards or something astronomical, and they boat raced him. And, I thought the game was mostly over, and I was putting my little daughter to bed, right? And then all of a sudden, Jaden Daniels gets hurt.
They lost Lattimore too.
They lost Lattimore, torn ACL. It happened near the end of the game, and we showed a replay on my Twitter timeline at Pro Football Doc. I found it this morning. He literally tears his left knee ACL on the 36-yard line. Watch for the step on the 36-yard line. Left knee ACL tear. And Luke McCaffrey, obviously, the opening kickoff.
Yeah. So, did you play sports growing up? And if so, what was your favorite sport?
I played the violin growing. No, I'm just joking. Well, I actually did, but you got the Asian, you got UK. So okay. Here is you got me talking here, my friend. Okay. I played. Here is my athletic claim to fame.
Okay.
I believe I'm the only person at my high school to be a 3-sport letterman in the same facility. And I'll give you a clue. One, I did play basketball. I did not play football, but I did play basketball. So the 3 sports I played in the same facility are, I started in the fall. I remember I grew up in Southern California, water polo. Partly because I think my parents put me in that because it's swimming, it's good for you, and they probably knew I wanted to play football. But by the time I figured out I wanted to play football, it was too late. I had water polo. So I went water polo in the fall, basketball in the winter.
Okay.
And my freshman year, I started as, a power forward, sometimes center, and I just didn't grow. And by the time I was playing 1 and 2, and I couldn't shoot the ball or dribble the ball, so I wasn't very good anymore. But the problem was I started as a power forward, backup center, and I didn't grow, so that didn't get me very far. 6 feet 6'1" doesn't make it. As a freshman, you box out, you can make it. So basketball, and then I finished with swimming. Now, why was it all in the same facility? My high school gym is called the swim gym. And believe it or not, you've seen it before. Have you seen the movie It's a Wonderful Life?
I was thinking that. I was thinking that. I'm like, surely not. Where they're dancing and they fall in.
Yeah. That is my high school swim gym.
No way.
I swam in that pool underneath, played water polo in that pool underneath. And when it was closed, I played basketball on top of it. That It's a Wonderful Life movie was filmed at my high school.
Bedford Falls used the swim gym. That's what you're saying.
I didn't go to Bedford Falls. That's the movie name.
Pottersfield. I mean, we don't.
Pottersfield. Well, I'm embarrassed. I think Bedford Falls. High school. I can't say it.
Okay, that is amazing. Wow. The swim gym. That is. Yeah, everybody watches that every year.
Oh yeah. And let me tell you something. When they the controls to the swim gym, they have it like they're around the corner and their secret thing. No, it's right next to the thing. You'd see him doing it, but they just took poetic license for the controls,
Yeah,
where
that's
they are.
amazing. That's amazing. So the last thing I got to ask you, since you're a three-sport athlete, a three-sport letterman, as you just told us, what is the I guess the toughest injury you sustained or the most difficult injury that you've had to overcome? Since you analyze injuries and you're the pro football doc, what about personal injuries that you sustained and had to overcome, sports or non-sports, in your life?
Besides a soft mind,
Is
which
that
is
what your
why
wife? Is that what your wife
I have the
says?
ultimate respect for athletes and what they do and go through. I did have a back injury when I was younger, and to this day I have a bad back.
Mm,
I don't want to use that as an excuse. I mean, the bottom line is you could only look in the end, as you excel in sports, talent wins out. And I will admit I used a lot of leverage and guile and this, that, the other. Like, let me tell you something. When I played basketball, let me tell you, especially, in high school and whatever, everyone was dying to block my shot because I wasn't that big. But I used that to my advantage because they bought every pump fake. And guess what? Once I got them off the ground as they're coming down, I could get my shot off. But they were just so eager to swat me, right? They were like, "Oh, this is going to be easy,"
yeah.
And I would,
Um,
and they'd go up in the air and to come down. So I got a little bit, but I
yeah.
will say this: I just wasn't that talented. I was so happy. Okay, my one athletic claim to fame in basketball, this will tell you how old I am too, is in high school, I played against Jay Billis.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wow.
Maybe
Uh-huh.
can I say North Carolina guy in the Kentucky podcast? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
He's a
he
Duke.
was
He's a
a
Duke
great
guy.
player,
It's even
even in
worse.
high school, obviously. And I
Okay.
was so proud of myself that I thought, what a great job I've done. I've held him to 6, 7 points in the first half and only 3 rebounds. Oh, he got his 28 and 15 by the end of the game. Oh yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
stop him. I
Okay.
like got lucky and held him at bay with hustle for a little bit, but better player won out by
Yeah.
far. He got everything he was supposed to get and made me look silly. But what are you
Yeah.
gonna do?
That's it. I mean, he's 6'8" or whatever he is, and you're
Well, he wasn't 6'8" quite back then, but still, like even for me, I hated the pesky guards that would like stick their butt into my thigh to block me out. I almost liked the bigger guys who thought they could out jump and out
yeah.
athletic me.
Uh-huh.
It's the pesky ones that I hated to play
Yeah.
against.
That tenacity gets annoying after a
Oh
while.
yeah, but that was me against Jay Billis. He was just like, "What is this guy? Get away from me!"
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We all do what we have to do, It's just try our best to scrap and make it tough for those guys when we can, for sure. I've thoroughly enjoyed this, Doc. Where can everybody listen to you on the network and just give everybody a gist of what they're going to get when they tune in?
Sports Injury Central podcast, Pro Football Doc podcast on the Believe Network, and then Twitter, and then Pro Football Doc on X, and then Sports Injury Central, SICScore.com, SICScore.com. We'll have a lot of stuff come March Madness time for college basketball. We'll have a lot of NBA stuff with what we call, in football, we call them field views, one team versus the other. And we literally break it down for offense versus defense, offensive line run versus offensive line pass versus D line run versus D line pass health, right? And break it down. And we do that in basketball with something we call court views. And, for fantasy, we'll even have something called the player edge. It is not about the health of a running back. It's about the health of their O-line against the health of the front seven. And we incorporate that into the player edge. It's not about the health of a quarterback. It's about the health of his wide receivers, his tackles especially, and the health of the pass rushers against the health of the secondary. So we incorporate that into a Sam Darnold score, which we actually had him high in terms of his projections last night. And the same thing here with Dak Prescott, your guy tonight, against Arizona's defense, which, by the way, is down a couple players, including their number one draft pick with the groin at corner. So Dak might be able to have a little bit of a good game here with the weapons that he has, especially with what, and you know this, Connor Beebe now back off IR, your starting center, which is the linchpin there. So that's the kind of granular stuff that we do.
Amazing. Appreciate you taking the time to provide some insights about all of it. Jalen Lowe from the Kentucky basketball perspective and the NFL that you're watching right now too. So we appreciate it. Everybody go and check Doc out. He's on the Believe Network just like we are here at Believe in Kentucky. And we'll be back, like I said, Cole and myself Wednesday. But Doc, it's an honor to talk with you and keep up the good work. And appreciate everything.
Thank you.
It's been another episode of Believe in Kentucky for the Pro Football Doc. My name is Vinny Hardy. We'll be back Wednesday. Cole and myself, go Cats. We'll see everybody next time.